Let's compare two statements which both propose a profound understanding on the origin and the meaning of life. In the beginning was the Logos, and the Logos was with God, and the Logos was God. As for the Logos, ever real, men are without understanding of it, both before they hear it and once they have heard. For though all things come to pass according to the Logos, they seem as if they had never experienced it. The first comes from the Gospel of John, and the second is from the sayings of Heraclitus. Ludwig Wittgenstein confirms that the meaning of a word does not always come from a dictionary definition, but often from its use in the language. What then is the meaning of the word logos in these sayings? At the beginning of his Gospel, the Apostle John evokes the beginning of the book of Genesis and the creation of life through God's commands. So logos, being translated word, somehow echoes with the process of creation. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. This sounds familiar, but didn't God say words in Genesis? How can he be the Word? This video and the subsequent videos propose a different meaning for logos, which would have made much more sense to contemporary Greek readers. The context of the writing of John's Gospel. In his later life, the Apostle John cared for a number of churches in the Greek world. Under the Roman Emperor Domitian, John was exiled to the Greek island of Patmos. When he was liberated, he moved to the major Greek city of Ephesus, where he is said to have published his Gospel. How would his Greek readers have understood the term logos? Well, it's a word which began a long philosophical journey 600 years prior to John's Gospel, and it started with one of the first Greek thinkers, Heraclitus. Living at the end of the 6th century BC, Heraclitus was among the earliest Greek philosophers to question the nature of the world and of meaning itself. He lived in the city of Ephesus, a thriving center for trade and culture, and at that time under Persian rule. Born into the ceremonial royal family of Ephesus, Heraclitus belonged to a lineage of honor, yet he refused the hereditary title of ceremonial king, granting it instead to his brother. This gesture reveals much about his character. Indifferent to glory and worldly honors, his soul was turned towards truth and the understanding of existence. He shunned public affairs, even declining a generous invitation from his Persian sovereign Darius the Great to share his wisdom at court. Heraclitus composed a treatise on the nature of things, embracing cosmology, ethics, and ontology, which he deposited at the temple of Artemis for safekeeping. None of it survives, but many of his terse and enigmatic sayings have been preserved through later authors who quoted them. Heraclitus is often called the philosopher of change. His most famous fragment, B91, reads, "You cannot step twice into the same river." What does he mean? Surely you can return to a river. The text continues, "Other waters are ever flowing on." The definition of a river is flowing water. If it stopped flowing, it would no longer be a river. But this provides great insight because he perceived that perpetual change is a fundamental law of the universe. Beyond natural processes, he discerned even more powerful and destructive forces akin to fire. Fragment B64. The thunderbolt steers all things through all things. For Heraclitus, change is born of conflict, not disorder, but a necessary tension by which the world holds its balance and justice is maintained. One must know that war is common, that strife is justice, and that all things come into being through conflict. Fragment B80. Yet Heraclitus's gaze reached beyond the flux of nature and the struggles of opposing forces. Beneath the turbulence of becoming, he discerned a deeper order, a rational principle governing all things, which he named Logos. This term has intrigued philosophers for centuries. The word logos derives from the Greek verb lego, commonly understood as to say, to speak, or to tell. Thus, logos is often rendered as word, speech, message, account, or saying. However, logos encompasses both speaking and gathering, the synthesis of expression and reason, of communication and order. Thus, it may also signify reason, principle, measure, law, or relation. Hence, the meaning of logos must be determined by context. Among the 10 surviving uses of logos in Heraclitus's fragments, some clearly mean word or speech, but in others the sense is metaphysical, a rational governing principle shaping the cosmos. Fragment B1 states, "As for the logos, ever real, men are without understanding of it, both before they hear it and once they have heard. For though all things come to pass according to the logos, they seem as if they had never experienced it." Associated with this forgetfulness, fragment B123 addresses the issue of concealment. This was discussed by German philosopher Martin Heidegger, who valued Heraclitus's approach to the understanding of being, a science we call ontology. Heidegger paraphrased it as such: being intrinsically inclines towards self-concealment. The truth thus hidden, this makes the logos key to understanding existence and reality. The logos is the rational harmony through which the cosmos emerges and is sustained. We can call it the logos-cosmos aspect, the relationship between reason and world, not in the sense of physical cosmology, but of ontology, the structure of being. Fragment B2 offers insight into the accessibility of this principle. Therefore, one must follow the common, for the common unites. Yet though the logos is common to all, most live as though they possessed a private understanding. Here logos is not only a cosmic law, but also a moral guide. It denotes the discernment by which one chooses the virtuous course amid complexity. This is the logos wisdom aspect. Although the logos is common and available to all, most people cling to their own private self-obsessed reasoning. Fragment B72 anticipates the Stoic maxim of living in harmony with the universe. This logos which governs the whole, with which men are in continual contact, they are nevertheless separated from, and the things they encounter daily seem strange to them. Every person, says Heraclitus, is in constant relation with this universal principle, yet most live self-centered lives opposed to it. In this single insight, both aspects, the logos cosmos and logos wisdom, converge. Let's conclude. Through these fragments, Heraclitus offers a vision that is both ontological and epistemological, the nature of being and the challenge of knowing it. Amid the multiplicity of forces and conflicts in nature, he discerns a single living principle, the Logos, which governs all and may be known by the human mind. This is the beginning of the philosophical use of the word Logos, but there are 3 other stages in this journey before we arrive at what John intended in his Gospel: the Stoics, the Middle Platonists, and finally the views expressed by Philo of Alexandria.